Welcome, everybody. It's 7:07 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. If you'd please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me. UFA, don't sit down. We're standing. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So 2 weeks ago when we had our last council meeting, we invited the Boys and Girls Club to come and be a part of it, and we had one of their kids lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us. And I think it is the fastest I have ever heard somebody talk. It was quite great. So there's comments up here about that. How I did not read it go through that quite as fast as that kid did 2 weeks ago. Rory, will you call roll?
Yes. Councilmember Robinson. Here. Gettle.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Sperry.
Here.
And Glover.
Here. Okay. Thank you. And then we've got the Unified Fire Department report. We'll hear from Chief Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council, City staff. It's always a pleasure to be here. Happy that Captain Chad Green and his crew could come in and join us. I always feel a little bit of extra pressure when they're here and I give my report to represent UFA in the best possible way. So I'm sure they'll let me know how I did afterwards. Just a quick update on our strategic plan. We've held 5 community meetings, those were in September, to gather input from our cities on what is going well and what we could do better. A Zoom meeting for any city staff that missed the in-person meeting is going to be held on October 5th. I believe the mayor sent out that invite. Then after we get that information, the strategic planning committee will gather that information, compile everything, all the data, and write a draft plan and present that to the board. I want to mention again, Fire Prevention Week starts next week, October 8th through the 15th. The theme this year is cooking safety starts with you. Pay attention to fire prevention. I believe a banner, is it up yet at the station? Okay, we're getting a banner up there to announce it. We got 6 and put them in high traffic flow areas to announce to our citizens, and Station 126 was one of them. We have some safety information on cooking in the kitchen and kitchen safety overall. It's going to be on our website. I've sent some information to Laura that she'll post on your social media sites so you can view it there as well. And we're going to have a live fire demonstration October 11th. We've invited the media. We're going to have an actual kitchen demonstration with a grease fire and what to do and how to put that out. So that should be on the news outlets either the 11th or soon after. So we're being pretty active that way as much as we can. I would like to share some things that your crews are doing other than emergency response. I should have the quarterly report on my next report. We haven't been able to compile the data yet, being so close to the first of this month, but I'll have the data for the third quarter on the fires and medical calls that your crews have gone on. But I would like to share some things that have been passed on to me by some of the captains. September 16th, they had the Tunnels to Towers 5K run and walk. If you'll remember, that foundation supports our nation's fallen and catastrophically injured first responders, military heroes, and their families. So this run was to support them. We had the largest fire department team made up of firefighters from UFA of any other department in the valley, 20 in total, I'm told. and they made the run in their fire gear. Any of you that have ever gone to Fire School 101 or seen the gear that they wear can imagine what kind of a feat that was. But the captain wanted me to express thanks to the mayor and others who were able to go and show their support. They said it means a lot to us, so thank you for that support. Your crews participate in an Adopt-a-School program every year. They go to the 3rd grade at Copperview Elementary about once a month and teach them fire safety lessons. It's awesome to see the Adopt-a-School kids out in the public at the store or the park, and he said it's exciting to have them come up to us and they know our names. They hope to have a positive impact on the children's life while helping them to understand more about fire safety, and the fire department in general. They also have a great time going to the senior center and taking blood pressure measurements every couple of weeks. They get to converse with many people in groups, hear great stories, learn some great life lessons, and have a lot of laughs. And they wanted to pass on their thanks to the seniors for giving them this opportunity, something they really enjoy. They have a lot of probationary firefighters moving through some of the Midvale stations. Well, both of them, actually. This gives our crews an opportunity to train, teach, learn, and hopefully get be great mentors to the future firefighters. Midvale provides some great experiences for the new firefighters coming through, and with the variety and the amount of calls that they receive. I thought that was a pretty good report from some of our captains, and gives a pretty good idea of some of the other activities that they do throughout the month. That's my report. Are there any questions for me?
Not seeing any.
Okay,
Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
All right, next up, we've got the Next Gen Initiative. I'm going to ask if you're participating in that, if you would come up to the microphone, all of you together. Oh, you can go to the, sorry. I mean, you can stand right here if you want, but right there works great. Well, I really appreciate you all being here. Council, just a reminder, this was something that we talked about starting a while ago. And at the end of the school year last year, I went to Hillcrest High School and went and did 2 forums there, town halls, whatever we want to call them, but where I went and talked with the students. And from that, we've created the Next Gen Initiative, which officially starts well, I asked them to be here tonight, but our first meeting is next Monday. And so just as I went to Hillcrest and talked with the students there, it was great just to see the awareness, the being intrigued by different, especially local government, and clearly you all seeing the issues that are impacting our community. I like to joke that I know that I'm in this position because I'm a nerd, and when I was your age, I really wanted to be involved in things, and I didn't know how. And so I'm really glad that the city's taking these steps, and appreciate you all being here, and I'm just super excited for it. This program will run from October until April, and at the end of that, they'll be back in front of all of you to talk about what they learned and make some recommendations on how we can improve. With that, what I'd like to do is, you're gonna get to go first. Will you just state if you would just say your name, first and last name, the school you go to, and your grade, and then we'll just go down, just so it's a little bit of an introduction.
Mayor, have them go to the podium and.
Yes, yep, come up to the podium and do that. You got it.
My name is Ivy Costello, and I go to Hillcrest, and I'm in 9th grade.
All right, thank you.
My name is Narayani Shankar. I go to Hillcrest and I'm in 10th grade.
Thank you.
I'm Mikey Chavez. I go to Jordan High School, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Ethan Mears. I go to Leadership Academy of Utah. I'm in 12th grade.
My name is Manvi. I go to Hillcrest High School, and I'm in 11th grade. I'm Isabella Goetz. I'm a junior at Hillcrest High School.
My name's Matthew Miller. I'm a senior at Hillcrest High School.
And my name is Nia Cox. I go to Hillcrest High School, and I'm in 12th grade.
I have to count. We're missing some, but we have 11 signups total, so I'm really excited about that for this year. And with that, if you would, unless council has any questions, it'd be really fun to put them all on the spot because I can tell that they love it.
Just thank you for participating.
Absolutely. Nope.
Do you want
No.
us to ask them? What
No,
are your
I
top
don't.
3 legislative priorities for the next?
Utah or BYU? It's good. They passed. Didn't pass.
Didn't pass. Ethan, you can leave. No, just kidding. Just kidding. We're happy to have you. With that, we're going to do a quick group photo, and then I've got just a little gift for you. So if you want to come line up, maybe on this side, so the podium's not in the way, you can come line up here, and we'll take
I'm not
a photo. I know. Well, do you want to, Laura, does that work? Do we need to?
We need to move towards him.
Oh.
I don't mean to be.
Picky.
Yeah, you're okay.
Everyone look at me. Can't see you. Councilmember Sperry. There we go. Okay, 1, 2. I'm so sorry. Councilmember Gettle, can you step to the left just a little? Thank you. 1, 2, 3. City. Thank you.
And I have something that's really exciting. For each of you, I've got a Midvale City beanie. You're gonna need it. With a Midvale City hacky sack in there.
Use it tonight.
Hacky sack?
I'm not ready for this.
When did we get hacky sacks?
Yeah, thank you guys. Yep. Okay, so just a reminder, next Monday, 4 p.m. here. I think we've got some exciting stuff set up. So we'll talk about that Monday. Get your input, do some brainstorming. But I'm excited for it, so I'll see you all Monday at 4. You're more than welcome to hang out for the meeting, but you can also go home. It's up to you. The meetings are very exciting.
We're gonna have a public hearing on the rec center bond, so.
It's not All right, next we have the proclamation on the National Hispanic Heritage Month. Okay. Whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month, known as Mes de Herencia Hispana, is celebrated nationwide from September 15th through October 15th each year. And whereas originally Hispanic Heritage Week was established by legislation sponsored by Representative Edward Roybal of Los Angeles and was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968. And whereas in 1988, the commemorative week was expanded to a month by legislation sponsored by Representative Esteban Torres and signed into law by President Ronald Reagan. And whereas September 15th was chosen as the starting point for the commemoration because it is the anniversary of the Cry of Dolores, wherein the early morning of September 16th, 1810, marked the start of the Mexico War of Independence and thus resulted in independence for the New Spain colony, now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua in 1821. And whereas we celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas Hispanic Americans are the largest minority group in the United States today and the largest minority group in Midvale, representing nearly 1 in 5 residents according to the 2020 census. And whereas the diversity of the Hispanic and Latino community is consistently a source of strength and resilience spanning generations, reflecting a wide range of backgrounds, languages, and cultures that have helped shape our nation's identity. And whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans have made significant contributions to every facet of American life, from arts and culture to science, technology, business, and public service. And whereas we encourage all Midvale residents to celebrate our unique and vibrant history and recommit ourselves to a shared future of healthy, peaceful, safe, and sustainable communities for all. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Mayor Marcus Stevenson, and the City Council of Midvale City do hereby proclaim that from September 15th through October 15th, 2023, Midvale City will recognize and participate in the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month adopted on this 3rd day of October 2023. And if we would pass this down, Councilmember Brown and Sperry, we still need your signature. All right, we will move into public comments. Do we have any public comments tonight? If so, you may step to the microphone and state your name for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the reports. Again, I'll just say really excited for Next Gen. I think that we've got a great lineup for them over the next 6 months. I think they'll learn a lot and hopefully continue on with their service. And then I'll say the car show was great. Appreciate all the staff help that went into that. I'm glad that for the most part the weather held out for us. They had to start closing down a little early as they had some folks leaving just because of the weather. But it was great. We even had the Jazz point guard Colin Sexton there that I didn't know he was going to be there and ran into him. That was pretty exciting. He was very nice, and I got a moment to chat with him, and he was talking about how he wanted to do more community events and was interested in partnering with Midvale. So it would be great to see something happen if we're so lucky. And then lastly, I've got my skate event this Saturday at Copperview Rec Center and Skate Park. We are luckily, with working with Salt Lake County and a nonprofit, we've been able to get 25 brand new skateboards that we'll be giving out to kids in the community. We went through a nomination process where teachers, people from either counselors in schools or folks from the Boys and Girls Club or the Road Home nominated Midvale students who go to school here. And so we're giving out 25 skateboards to these nominees on Saturday morning, which I'm pretty excited about. With that, Councilmember Robinson.
The only thing I had tonight is I just wanted to remind everybody that the City Council Candidate Forum is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. here. So if you'd like to meet any of your current council members or those that are also running, that's a good opportunity. That's all I have tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Glover.
I'd just like to thank the Unified Police. I was broken into my business 2 days ago, and I ended up with, I think, 6 or 7 officers there, K-9 unit, and was a good response. Appreciate that.
Councilmember Gettle.
Thanks, Mayor. In light of today's historic events, we have promised the mayor no motions to vacate the chair from any of us today, so just wanted to let that known. Also, I just wanted to point out October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so maybe for the next council meeting we could put together a proclamation for that.
It's already written.
Okay, see, didn't even need to talk then. But I did want to mention just there are a few detectable cancers early on. Breast cancer is one of them. So anyone listening to this, you know, if you can get one person to go get checked out, that's all the better. Did we ever have a mobile mammography van ever come here? We do that at the state for like once a year for detection purposes.
Not as long as I've been here.
No, we have not.
Might we do that at some point?
I
Yeah.
could definitely look into it.
Okay. I know it's kind of a weird thing to be like, hey, employees, go out and go out to the mammography van, but it's run by University of Utah Health. One of the residents who used to live in Midvale in my district, who has since moved out, she runs that program and would love to engage with the community, not just for employees. I mean, it could be an employee event also, but, you know, community event as well.
Could you give me a number?
Yeah, I can do that for you.
I know you had sent out an email request talking about potential areas where that could be located. I was supposed to follow up with you and then got the flu and didn't, so
Okay.
Let's talk after this.
Okay, no problem. And I think that that was it, although I am slowly remembering something else. Oh, just real quick, I had mentioned in the past expanding kind of what the mayor is able to vote on, and I know it's an odd area for you yourself to like advocate for, like, let me vote on this. But I do think maybe we could have that discussion moving forward. I think it's wise to have the mayor vote on more things than just like the expansion of his or her duties. Anything like that has a fiscal impact on the city of Midvale, I think would be a smart, wise move for to have the mayor vote on it as well. I think our people who even know the form of government that we have, sometimes they're kind of surprised that our mayor does not vote on those types of issues. You know, and if this mayor, Mayor Stevenson, is not interested in voting, and you know, that could be something we can discuss in a workshop or something. But I think that it's a good idea. Maybe with more discussion, someone could convince me that it's not. But I do think, you know, we're a city that's big enough, expanding enough. Our mayor certainly does enough for the city that I think not having his input and vote up and down on certain issues is a lost opportunity for him and the future mayor. So maybe we could discuss that after the election or at some point coming up soon. So that's all I have.
I just want to clarify that I don't vote not because I don't want to, but because that is our form of government.
Yes, because we don't allow you to.
Yes, just to clarify. Councilmember Sperry.
I have nothing this evening.
Councilmember Brown.
Yeah, a couple of things. We participated in the Canyons golf tournament. It was a lot of fun. I think I wanted to break my club over my head a few times, but Quinn came and we had a good time, and it's nice to support the school district and the community. And I was able to chat with some of the school board members, which we don't get to do a lot. And you know, the reason why I'm bringing it up is I think we should maybe try to engage, because I feel like at best we never communicate with them, and at worst we're at odds with what they're doing or what we're doing, and that's just sort of unintentional, right? Because they're an elected body that meets. Don't they meet on the same day as us even? So it's really hard for us to really sort of coordinate. I mean, you might, and that's great, Mayor, but I meant for like us. You know, I don't think I've seen Mont since the last time he ran for something, which might have been like, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't know if we can find a way to, you know, twice a year we do something with them, you know, find a way to. I don't even know what that would look like, but they're just such a huge partner. You know, if you think about it, they own a lot of property in our park that, you know, if we don't get along with them, they can turn it over to, a developer or something like those. And so if we can work on sort of engaging, you know, that we should try. And I'm sure you guys do great. It's more for me, and I don't know how to do that.
It makes sense. I'm sure that their school board members would probably also appreciate an opportunity like that.
Yeah, it feels sort of the same way. I agree.
Be interesting.
And just because everyone was like, everyone has to move towards Bryant, everyone that didn't see, I tore my Achilles tendon like Friday, and I'm waiting for my surgery. So it's not because everyone needs to gather around me that I'm like the center of attention. But so that was the reason why I didn't want it to look like I was totally stuck up for that photo. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
I can come back this year for my football career.
City Manager Dahl, just as soon as you're done making jokes, you can go ahead.
Well, then I'll never keep going. Just a couple quick things. A couple weeks ago, a few weeks weeks ago, Councilman Gettle had come and talked to me about an issue with regards to parking on sidewalks, and we have sort of looked at the issue. Admittedly, I had originally come up with an idea because we have certain neighborhoods where the nature of the streets makes it so that neighborhoods have been parking on sidewalks for a while. Truth of the matter is that that is against state code, and I had tried to come up with like a compromise where we would say, okay, as long as someone's on the sidewalk, but there'd be enough room for a wheelchair to get through, then we could allow that to happen in those neighborhoods where this has historically happened. As we've been kind of looking at that as a thing, it really is not practical because we're not going to have officers go out and with a tape measure and
With a wheelchair?
With a wheelchair or something and try to say, is someone able to fit through there? And so we're going to be moving in the direction and making it clear that going forward, we're going to start enforcing that if someone is parking on the curb or on the sidewalk, then we will be enforcing. The conversation we're having is that we'll give notices and things first before we start to transition into giving tickets for that, but it is something that we need to do.
Would it be, I mean, I know that we have a few specific neighborhoods of doing just like we would do for a public hearing and sending something out and just sending it out to those areas and saying, we know this has been done, but we will be enforcing and doing a blanket notice.
Sorry, you're saying do a public hearing so that.
Not a public hearing, I'm just saying.
A notice.
Yeah,
Like a
notice
warning?
to all that area.
Yeah, we can
a
look at,
blanket one.
we can look at how we can do a warning on, or a blanket warning on that before.
Matt, can you make sure we include like trailers in that? There's a lot of camper trailers that will park into the sidewalk in my neighborhood for months at a time. A car at least will move. Sometimes they'll park their trailer. That's a lot of complaints that I got during harvest days. Was they would have like a fifth wheel that's like 30 feet long that will extend across the whole sidewalk, and I don't really notice it until I'm using my scooter, right? And it's hard for me to just walk around them. So make sure not just cars, but anything that the resident has put into the sidewalk.
Okay. Yep, we'll do it. The next thing is, I'm not sure if you noticed, but we have another damaged window out front. Over the weekend, we had someone come back through and throw a rock and bust a window out. UPD was good to respond, but the truth of the matter is that our current array of cameras has been not as helpful in either of these instances. IT is working on sort of moving some of that. Some of this has to do with there was an incident earlier in the year, and we sort of moved the focus of the camera towards the two entrances that left sort of a gap right there. Anyways, we're working to make sure that we're covering the whole of City Hall, but we did have another incident over the weekend. Some of you may have noticed that yesterday there was some flooding on Center Street, particularly in the underpass under I-15. This was, in the past, we've had issues where the pumps weren't started, or we were having a hard time getting a hold of UDOT in order to deal with that. Yesterday there was an electrical issue with one of them. UDOT was responsive and had to bring out an electrician to get the pump going. And my understanding is once that got going, that it cleared up the flooding underneath the underpass of I-15 on Center. But that's what the situation was yesterday, if any of you came across that. And then the final thing is just due to a couple of anomalies this year, we really only actually have 3.5 meetings left this year. We'll have a regular meeting on October 17th. We'll have a meeting on November 14th. And then because of the election and Thanksgiving, that'll be the only meeting in November. And then in December, we'll have a regular meeting on December 5th, and then the canvas meeting on December 6th. Since it'll only be the canvas, I'm calling that a 0.5 meeting. We'll have a lot of things that we'll need to be doing in the next few meetings, but we also only have a few meetings left before the end of the year. So I just wanted to make sure you're all aware of that. With that, that's it. Thank you.
Matt, is there an opportunity, I'm just trying to think, for the meeting and then the day later, the canvas, could we combine those and just do a Wednesday meeting / canvas?
I think we could. We just have to make sure the canvas is on the 6th. I don't see why we couldn't.
Is that a Wednesday?
It is a Wednesday.
Okay.
I would prefer to combine them if everyone else would as well.
Why not?
That's fine.
I'm good with that.
And wouldn't that be Quinn's last one then?
Maybe.
He's not running.
Well,
Yeah.
something could
I was
happen.
like getting back in this. Is there an election going on?
You missed it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll look at combining those then.
Okay.
All right, we do have a public hearing tonight. We have a public hearing to receive input from the public with respects to A, the issuance of approximately $11.2 million of general obligation bonds, and B, the potential economic impact that the improvements, facilities, or properties to be financed in whole or in part with proceeds of said bonds will have on the private sector. Hear from City Manager Dahl.
Presentation is a little similar to some of the ones we've done previously, but as you're aware, on July 18th, the City Council approved a resolution that approved a special bond election for a recreation bond in an amount up to $11.2 million. This would cover a rec center, partially funding a rec center and a community pool, as well as active transportation trails. State law requires that we hold a public hearing in order to provide the public an opportunity to speak on the recreation bond and the potential economic impact that the proposed improvements would have on the private sector. Just as a quick reminder, $10 million of that 11.2 would go to partially fund the construction of a new modern recreation center. That would include a pool. Additional funding would be required to fully fund the recreation center. And so as we've been communicating about this, the $10 million would be part of putting together a package that we would be able to go to as many sources as we can in order to find the funding that we need to fully fund a rec center. But just to clarify for those who are listening that this is, again, just it partially funds us, but we think it improves chances to be successful in receiving other matching funds. $1.2 million of the bond funding will unlock $4.8 million in federal funding for a total of $6 million that would be used to improve, for new and improved walking and biking lanes throughout the city. There's 4 specific projects that were identified in our RISE grant, which is the federal funding, the $4.8 million grant. And so the funding will go to those specific projects. With just that, just a quick reminder before we open up to the public hearing, there are many steps that we have to go through in order to get to the election successfully. We've already provided the resolution to the governor and election official. We've provided the pro argument with regards to the bond to the election officer and to the state to look at. Today we're holding the required public hearing by October 31st. That's the deadline to post the election notice. November 6th, we need to have the voter information pamphlet mailed out to registered voters. November 14th, we need to hold a public meeting regarding the ballot proposition. So just a quick reminder, on that night, which is already a city council night, we will probably, in some configuration, but more than likely, we will start the meeting that night. Instead of having a workshop, we will have this public meeting regarding the ballot proposition. It'll be separately agended from the regular council meeting, but it'll again be sort of a discussion of the ballot proposition, an opportunity for the public to speak to that. And then finally, the election will be on November 21st. So with that, that's just a quick recap of where we are with regards to the bond. This is a public hearing for the community to speak on the issue, and I will turn it over. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Otherwise, we can allow the public to speak.
Any clarifying questions from the council? Okay, I'd ask a motion to open it up for public comment.
Mayor, my motion that we move into public comment.
Second?
A motion is second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, we will move into public comment on this public hearing item. Do we have any public comment on this item? If so, you may step forward to the microphone, state your name for the record, and you'll be given 3 minutes.
Mayor, I move that we close public comment.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to close the public comment. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, public comment is closed. All right, no action needed, correct? We'll move on, okay. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Just one item tonight. Consider minutes of September 19th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve that consent agenda?
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Rory, will you call roll?
Yes, Councilmember Sperry.
Aye.
Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
And Gettle.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That passes. Consider resolution, moving on to action items, consider resolution number 2023 R41, appointing the Harvest Days Chair. Matt, you speaking on this one? Okay.
Hi, friend.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Matt's gonna bump you out of the way though.
It's fine. It's fine.
You'll want to hear from her more anyways, but just as a quick reminder, sorry. In February of 2022, the city council approved a new policy that established a Harvest Days Committee. As part of that policy, it gives the mayor the ability to appoint the members of that committee. However, the chair, excuse me, however, the chair needs to be approved by the city council. The other members only require appointment by the mayor. The Harvest Days Committee is responsible for planning the Harvest Festival events, and is responsible for sort of identifying how we would look at spending the budget for Harvest Days, providing you with updates. City staff works with the Harvest Committee in order to make sure that we're following all the rules and things that we need to. But otherwise, the committee is really in the lead. And for the last 2 years, it's really been Molly who's been in the lead of that group. As you've seen over the last couple of years, I mean, I think the challenge of the first year was that we did this in a very short time frame, got started late, but we still had a successful, though rainy, Harvest Days that year. This year, I think you can really see that we made a lot of changes. The Harvest Days Committee made a lot of changes, both in the layout of the event, but also the inclusion of new events and things like that, that from what we've gathered have been pretty successful. And so for all of that, a lot of that has been due to Molly's leadership. And so the mayor has expressed to me, and we've prepared the documentation in order to formally appoint Molly for her 3rd year as the Harvest Festival Chair. With that, I don't know if you have anything to say or if you have any questions.
Well, I'll just say, I mean, I know that we all know this up here. We've all seen it. Molly has put in a significant amount of work into Harvest Days the last 2 years. I'm just super grateful that she's willing to do this again for a 3rd year. I know it's a lot of work. And you're you're just volunteering all of your time. So we immensely appreciate it. But if there's any questions from the council for Molly, I'd welcome them.
No, I think she does a great job, and I think, you know, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm assuming everyone would say that you do a great job and that you should continue to do this for the city, you know, for as long as you want to. Because I know it's a lot of work.
I'm thankful you want to.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fun.
I think Molly's going, do I want to?
I'm shocked you're doing it again, but
here we are.
in a very good way. Yes, you've done a great job, you and the entire committee, so
Thank you.
thank you.
I'll just say at this point too, the committee members, from my understanding, at this point have also said they are willing to continue. And so that continuity, I think, is going to be helpful.
Yeah, it'll be the same as last year.
All right, well, if there's no other questions, comments for Molly, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2023-R-41, confirming Mayor Stevenson's appointment of Molly Signoretti to serve as the chair of the Harvest Days Festival Committee.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rory, will you call roll?
Yes, Councilmember Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Gettle.
Yes.
Sperry.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
I was sweating on that vote. I was
That's
worried
it.
about it. But
I
it
know,
passed,
I was nervous all the way here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
Thanks, Molly.
All right, action item B, consider ordinance number 2023-013, adopting Midvale City Parks curfew. Glenn.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Not this picture again.
So a few weeks ago, staff brought a proposed seasonal curfew for the parks to help curb some of the vandalism and other issues that we've been having. Council suggested that it not be seasonal and be made annual. So the proposed annual curfew is now 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. year-round the next morning. Again, it's Class C misdemeanor. And as we talked last time, there's no specific chapter in city code pertaining to the parks. So this ordinance will create that chapter and then also the section containing the curfew.
So I have a quick question. We talked about allowing people to park in the parks, maybe overnight, but I feel like that violates this code.
Yeah, there was, if I recall, there was a special circumstance where there was some construction happening in the neighboring.
I think it's already over.
It's already done?
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't think we could do that again.
Yeah, I would
easily.
agree. Not without maybe a permitted
Yeah.
type.
Okay. And so I just wanted to make sure parking, that's one of my bigger concerns than anything, is
Yes.
a car
this-
staying there overnight.
Yeah, no overnight parking, no overnight camping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Just to recap, are there questions on the hours, on the Class C misdemeanor, or creating the specific park section?
I do have I think I asked it last time, but we were told specifically that we can't impede anyone's ability to shoot off fireworks. And those fireworks happen after 10 p.m. So on those days, I don't know if we carve out like days of the 4th and the 24th and 12/31 and 1/1, but we couldn't legally.
Well, we couldn't tell them to stop shooting fireworks, but if they're standing on the property, we could.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what activity they're doing.
They would, yeah, if I'm understanding the question correctly, yeah, that they would not be allowed to be there regardless after 10, fireworks or no fireworks.
We couldn't pass a law that said only people not shooting fireworks after 10 can be there.
Well, it seems, and I know this wasn't your intention, but it seems to me that it kind of infringes on that whole aspect of us being told that we can't ban fireworks on, because we are, in essence, banning them after a certain hour, which we all know that those are the hours when people set them off between 10 and midnight.
This looks content neutral to me, right? And that's how it'd be viewed?
I'm fine with it, but I'm just saying, like, if someone is there for a reason that they're specifically allowed to be there for, but for this new curfew, I don't know, it just seems like a tough
Like
thing for me.
Councilman Brown said, this isn't about fireworks, this is about people being at the park after hours. So, for instance, when we have our fireworks as part of Harvest Days, we're gonna allow fireworks because that's a permitted city event, and that can go beyond 10 p.m. if we so schedule it. And anyone who's there can participate in whatnot. But anyone, regardless of what they're doing in any other circumstance, if they're not there for a permitted event, is not allowed to be there. I mean, we can come up with a number of different things where we've been preempted by the state, having firearms or things like that. This isn't saying if you have a firearm at a public park after 10 p.m., you're kicked out. It's saying we don't care if you have firearms, fireworks, anything, you're just not allowed to be here.
But if the effect of the ordinance does curtail something that is a right or privilege of a person to do, then, I don't know, it seems questionable to me, because no, we're not banning fireworks, but we kind of are.
Not on all city properties, just on parks.
I would
Which is what
I
I
would
wanted-
liken it to another activity maybe in the park. My guess is, Garrett, that the state would not allow us to say we can't have a disc golf in the park, right?
I think a better example is people have the right of free speech, but if they're in the park after the curfew, we can't not remove them because they are talking.
Well, here's the last point I'll make on this. If we're gonna do this ordinance, 10 PM is the cutoff, then when people are shooting off fireworks between 10 and 12 on 6 different days of the year when they're legally allowed to do so, then we need to make sure that we have people enforcing that ordinance, because otherwise I think it just kind of creates.
The curfew ordinance?
Yeah.
But it would be because they were there, not because they were shooting out fireworks.
Correct.
Exactly, but in essence, it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone.
We could even potentially put up some additional signage on those nights to extra specially remind people that they can't be in the park during the curfew.
Okay, I worry about the unintended consequences. I think, obviously we need to do something, because the pictures that you insist on showing us
He goes back to
fully indicate that there's a problem. However, even when I mentioned last week, if there's like a beautiful snowstorm at 10 o'clock and someone wants to bring their kid out to the park to watch the snow and throw snowballs, is Chief going out there and throwing people in the back of his car and taking them downtown? He's saying
They're
yes.
just gonna ask him to leave.
Yeah, I know, but it is a Class C misdemeanor, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend just going and telling people to leave. It's a law with consequences, so just saying, hey, get out of here. That's not the best way to uphold an ordinance, in my opinion.
Okay. Are there further questions or thoughts?
Not seeing any, I entertain a motion if somebody would like to make it.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 2023-0-13, creating chapter 12.18 within the Midvale Municipal Code and creating section 12.18.010 within that chapter to set a curfew for all city parks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Rory, you call roll?
Yes. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Gettle.
Yes.
Sperry.
Aye.
And Glover.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next item, which was a closed session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, but we do need to table that. Adam, question is, Garrett's telling me we should table this to an exact date. Will this be ready by the 17th? We can, okay. So I had asked for a motion to table this until our next meeting, which will be October 17th.
Mayor, move that we table the closed session to October 17th, 2023.
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that's tabled.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
We're adjourned. Thank you. We do have a redevelopment agency of Midvale City meeting tonight, so we'll jump right into that. 7:56, I'll call this meeting to order. We'll move right, Rory, will you call roll? So I'm
Yes.
just gonna skip that again.
Board Member Gettle.
Here.
Sperry.
Here.
Brown.
Yes.
Robinson.
Here.
Here.
And Glover.
Here.
Every time. I even said I'm not going to do it this time, and I still did it.
Thank you. All right, moving to public comments. Do we have anybody wishing to make public comment tonight? If so, you may step to the microphone and state your name for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes. Do you have any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Just one item, consider minutes of September 19, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Rory, we call roll.
Yes, Board Member Brown,
Yes.
Gettle,
Yes.
Glover,
Aye.
Sperry,
Aye.
and Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. And then just one action item, consider resolution number 2023-15 RDA approving amendments to the Main Street Facade Improvement Program. We'll hear from Kate.
Facade.
I-
You're never living that down.
I think about it every time.
Motion to
but, you
vacate.
know.
I also had to practice, so just make sure I don't say it.
Well, that's what I hear. It's like when I hear
It's facade also, not facade.
Tomato, tomato.
Just so
You gotta watch how you say that.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Board. Thanks for having me back for this item. So just to provide a brief summary for anybody that may not have been listening last meeting, since the program adoption of the Main Street Facade Improvement Program, we've had a lot of interest but no actual participation in going out and speaking with the potential applicants. We got feedback on why there hasn't been any applications for this grant program, and then based on that feedback, we are bringing forth those proposed amendments, hoping that it becomes a more utilized and effective program on Main Street. Those proposed amendments include increasing the max award amount from $35,000 to $50,000. We will, in addition to providing an additional $25,000 for buildings with 2 prominent facades that face a public road or public parking lot. And the last major amendment would be the easement terms would be determined by the RDA board and will be based on the type of improvement being made. There is a fiscal impact associated with this due to the increased grant amount. Therefore, we are requesting to increase that budget amount from $105,000 to $175,000. If the RDA board is to approve the program amendments tonight, we will return at a later date with a budget amendment.
Any questions, comments for Kate?
Real quick question. The one slide said that the amount would be determined. Can you go back? I'm sorry, I tried to memorize it, but clearly forgot. Oh yeah, the last easement terms, that's gonna be an administrative decision, right? You're not gonna come back to us with like easement.
Staff along with the advisory board will come to the board, the RDA board, with a recommendation on how long the easement terms would be.
Okay.
And yeah, it's gonna be it'll be based on the types of improvements being made. For example, paint, the life of paint is 5 years. It may be that the easement's for 5 years. But if it's something that the RDA board feels like they want to protect and have preserved on Main Street for the foreseeable future, then that would be something that we would put a longer easement term on.
Okay. I mean, for me, I would just be interested in seeing what it is, knowing what it is, but I don't necessarily think that, like, on a case-by-case basis, I don't know that it needs to be a vote of all of the board members, whether we approve of those easement terms or not. That's my opinion anyway.
The whole thing comes back, right? Like,
Yeah, so it would come as a whole package. This so-and-so applicant has applied, the total amount is this,
Okay.
so they are eligible for up to this amount, and this would be the terms of the easement that would go with the
Okay,
grant.
so we'd be making a determination on the whole package, not
Correct.
just that. Okay, cool. Appreciate that.
I love that this has removed the front door of that building. That's the only thing I think about when I see that. Otherwise, I can't wait for this to be complete. It will look very cool.
Yeah, it will.
And also the theater, right? They're interested in doing that. Mayor, are you ready for a motion on this one?
You enter in through the gate.
I have one question, and then I'll be ready. Is there precedent that we see in other communities of this kind of easement on the terms, like length of time that would come
So
with,
it kind of depends
or-
on the amounts that are allocated. So I will say, in looking at other cities, I saw grant programs similar to this that awarded up to $5,000. With those, there weren't easements attached to it. But then there are some where they awarded up to 50,000, and there were other stipulations, and they did have easements. None that were held in perpetuity, but a lot of them were up to like 15 years.
Okay.
So,
So I assume as we go down this road, we'll maybe have some examples, a baseline to be able to start from, instead of just.
yeah, and I think a lot of it will be determined on the life of the improvement. However, we also know that there are going to be improvements, for example, like the Vincent sign, which obviously has a life on it, but that would be something that I could potentially see being something that you guys would want to have long-term on the street. So that's kind of why we left it open-ended like that, but I would say a lot of it is going to be attached to the life of the improvement.
Thank you. Councilmember Gettle, I'm ready for a motion.
Oh, awesome. Motion to vacate. No, I move that I move that we adopt Resolution 2023-15 RDA approving amendments to the Main Street Facade Improvement Program.
Second.
Do we need to say the first
Wait.
motion fails
Yeah.
for lack of a second? Just to be
I withdraw my first
He
motion.
didn't say who he's going to vacate.
It might be his own.
your own?
District 5.
We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Or we call roll?
Aye.
Gettle.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Robinson. Aye. And Skirt.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that,
Motion to adjourn.
we have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Please say aye.
I don't.
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. We're adjourned.